2020 has been a very strange year, and certainly a very disruptive year. Every year I like to set a series of themes and goals, which are something that I aspire to achieve throughout that year. So what I want to do in this video is talk about the themes and goals that I set for 2020, talk about whether I achieved them or not, and then set some new themes and goals for 2021. Each year I like to set a series of themes which kind of set the tone for the rest of the year. I got the idea for setting themes from a podcast called Cortex with CGP Grey and Mike Hurley. And this idea kind of really intrigued me because it kind of gives you this kind of high level umbrella in which you can set the rest of the goals for your year. So let's go through what the goals were like for 2020 and see whether I achieved them or not, and then set some goals for 2021. So I had two themes for 2020. The first one was, and I'm just checking my notes, was the year of branching out and the year of well-being. So the year of branching out really was going to encompass the release of my book, The Path to Freedom, and the setting up of this YouTube channel. But because of various lockdowns and homeschooling and everything else, that kind of got a bit disrupted throughout the year. And then the whole year of well-being really was about me sort of trying to just get healthier and lose some weight. So those were the two overarching themes. And then from there I kind of hung a load of goals. So let's look at the first goal. So the first goal was a revenue goal, and it was to try and achieve 20% revenue growth for the entire year. Now at the start of 2020, when we started going into lockdown, I really wasn't sure whether I was going to achieve this or not, and I was kind of wholly prepared for revenue to go down. But luckily that wasn't the case, and I managed to grow by about 25% for revenues for online training courses, which was fantastic. And it kind of makes sense in a way. So I had a lot of in-person workshops booked, which I was supposed to teach in various countries around the world, and they all got cancelled. So I lost out a fairly big revenue hit there on potential revenue. But what then happened was that online learning, especially corporate online learning, kind of grew by quite a significant amount, because people can't do in-house training. So I actually hit that goal, which was quite good, and I managed to hit it without having to do too much. So it was based on pretty much existing courses that I already had out there performing very, very well. So the next one, which fits in with the theme of branching out, was that I wanted to release my book, The Path to Freedom, and this YouTube channel around about May time, leading into the summer. But with lockdown and homeschooling and all the stress and anxiety that came with that, I decided to put the book projects on hold. So because I'm self-publishing that particular project, I didn't have any firm sort of deadlines with a publisher, which kind of gave me a lot of flexibility. Now looking back, having that level of flexibility in doing what I do was actually really, really helpful. Well, I didn't really see that at the time. So with that project on hold, there wasn't really any way I was going to achieve that. So as we went into lockdown, the only projects that I really focused on was stuff that I had signed for Pluralsight. Now that was a signed contract, there was a firm delivery date on that, so that's what I focused my time on. And then the rest of my time had to be a lot more freer to basically assist with homeschooling of my two children. But now, you know, we've had additional lockdowns since, but the big difference this time was that the kids were in school, which meant that I could still sort of carry on working on normal projects. So the book is going to kind of feature more for 2021, but I'll come on to that when we talk about 2021's goals. So another goal, just checking on my notes, another goal I had was to release 15 Skillshare courses. Now that sounds like quite a lot, but compared to Pluralsight courses, Skillshare courses are a lot shorter. They typically can be anywhere from sort of 10 minutes to 40 minutes in length. So I wanted to release 15 plus. Quite an aggressive schedule of these courses. I didn't achieve that, so through lockdown a lot of things got cancelled and put on hold. But actually I released about 8 in the end, which is pretty good. I was hoping to get another one out in December, but I just prioritised other things instead. So all in all, not bad. I mean, I tried to play catch up as best I could, but I didn't quite hit that goal that I wanted there. So I had a goal for 3 Pluralsight courses. Did quite well on this, so overall I did 2 brand new courses throughout the year, which is quite good. One of those was done during the first lockdown, and I also did quite a few updates to some older courses just to kind of bring them up to spec branding wise, improve the recording process and stuff like that, because obviously you want to keep your content as up to date as possible. So I did a fair amount of that. So actually, in terms of Pluralsight content production, it's actually quite a successful year. So I'm quite happy with that. The other one was around kind of a year of well-being, and part of that was to try and improve kind of mental well-being and mental health. That was very hard. The stress caused by lockdown and the anxiety was kind of through the roof at one point when we had both the kids off school. Primarily because one of my children has severe learning difficulties, so he has educational needs. He'd been diagnosed with ADHD and autism before we went into lockdown. So as parents, we're trying to grapple with that and learn what that means and learn how to educate someone in that position, because teaching special needs children is a career path on its own, and we're certainly not qualified. So that was very stressful. In terms of weight loss, I mean, I am overweight. I'm sure the camera adds a few pounds, but I managed to lose a stone over the year and keep it off, which was quite good. Partly through to just me and my wife trying to make sure that everyone was eating healthily during lockdown. We cut down drinking by quite an amount, but also every day was going out for walks. So in the UK during the main lockdown, you was allowed out once a day for exercise, so me and my wife both made sure we took advantage of that. So we did lots and lots of walking, which was really good. So those are the goals for 2020. All in all, did a fairly good job. There's a few other things that happened towards the back end of the year. So I used to rent an office in a small town called Cromford in Derbyshire. Absolutely beautiful place. It's in an old mill, but I had to get a train to get there because I don't drive, so it's like a 10-15 minute train ride, which normally is not a problem. But what with lockdown, we changed our childcare providers that we use for the kids. So my daughter now goes to high school, so she just walks herself to school because it's around the corner from where we live. And we don't use our normal before school club for my son anymore. So what I decided to do was to completely relocate my office to the hometown that I live. Spent ages looking for a suitable place, eventually found it. And then when things were a bit quieter coronavirus wise, around sort of July, August time, I organised the move. So I wanted to get completely moved in and set up in the new office before we potentially went into another lockdown, which we did. So November 2020 was pretty much a complete lockdown in the UK again. So that was quite disruptive. Obviously moving office and moving everything takes a lot of effort in physically moving, and plus changing addresses, bills and all that sort of stuff. But now I'm here, this is where I'm shooting from here, although obviously against a green screen. I'm kind of happy that I've done that. So that means that in the morning I can walk my son to school, come to the office, do a full day's worth of work, and then kind of walk back, pick him up and take him home. So it actually works out really well from a personal level, and I don't have to get the train during the pandemic, which is great. Okay, so that was last year's goals. Let's look at 2021 and see what we're going to do here. So goals wise, this is going to look fairly similar. So again, I have two themes. I've got the year of branching out and the year of expansion. So the year of branching out again is going to basically be what I intended to do in 2020, which is to release the book and set up this YouTube channel. So as you can see, the YouTube channel is set up, which is great. I'm having loads of fun recording these videos. It's been quite a cool learning experience. I hope you like it as well. And the book is almost complete. So the last sections are with an editor now. She then has a series of revisions to go through, which I'm going to send her. So I think realistically I'll be looking to put the book out towards the end of April in both paperback and ebook formats, and then followed by an audiobook. So that's going to be kind of the big project for this year, is get the book out, build this channel, which I hope we get lots of subscribers throughout the year who kind of like the message and want to join us on this little journey. But also there'll be an online workshop that I'm producing as well, based off of the book but goes into more detail, which will be like a big online course and interactive workshop that people can do. So that's kind of the big project for this year. And also we've got the year of expansion, so that's expanding what I have on Pluralsight and Skillshare. So while the Path to Freedom is going to be my big project this year that I'm going to put a lot of effort into, obviously don't want to neglect the other areas of the business which have done well for me so far. So goals wise then, so to release the Path to Freedom book by the end of April. That's a very definite date that I should be able to hit, and I think I'm on track for doing that. Release the Path to Freedom online course by the end of September. And that's quite an ambitious goal, that, by the end of September, because this is going to be quite a big course. But it's something, I definitely want it out this year. I think September is a good time to do that, because then it kind of leads into the autumn season. I want to release 2 new Pluralsight courses this year, so that's 2 brand new courses. I'll probably do some course updates and revisions as well throughout the year, just to kind of keep the library healthy. And I also want to release 8 new Skillshare courses. Now, I set 15 as my target last year, which was a bit ambitious. I probably could have done it if we didn't have the lockdown, but this year I'm just going to pull that back a little bit and aim for 8. If I overperform on that, then fantastic, but I'll be happy with 8. So another goal I've got here as well is that I really want to speak again at a real life in-person conference. So a large part of what I do is public speaking. I've been very, very fortunate. I feel very privileged in the fact that I've managed to travel the world speaking at conferences, which is great. I absolutely love it. 2020, I did a couple of in-person conferences in January, and I did a small community event in February, and then that was kind of it. So I've done lots of online virtual conferences, which went very well. I was very pleased with how they turned out, and lots of kudos to the conference companies for adapting and going online. But it's not the same. It really isn't the same. Sitting there on the end of a Zoom call or a WebEx call with several hundred people watching you, who most of them have turned their cameras off because they get a bit fatigued with their camera being on. It's really not the same experience as having several hundred people sitting there interacting with you while you're on stage. So I'm really hoping that I can do at least one in-person conference this year. Now, this obviously all depends on coronavirus. I mean, in the UK, we're now a good way into the vaccination programme. My own dad has now had his vaccine, which is fantastic. So hopefully this will mean that towards the halfway point of the year and towards the back end of the year, things can actually start getting back to a bit normal. I'm going to be positive. Things are going to be normal by the end of the year. That's what we're hoping for. Fingers crossed. So that's it. I wanted to share the goals with you, and I firmly believe that by sharing some of the goals and themes that you have, it kind of gives you a level of accountability, because I've told you now. I'm going to look pretty daft if I come back next year and I've not managed to achieve these goals. Obviously, pandemic. You can never quite guess what's going to happen with a pandemic, but if you've got your own set of goals that you like to set each year, please do let me know in the comments. If you could also like the video as well, that massively helps me out. And also subscribe as well. So I'm going to be doing a lot of really cool, interesting content to help teach you about how to set up and run a business and how to thrive, especially in uncertain times like now. So I really want to help you succeed. So if you subscribe, ring that little notification bell, and then I can hopefully help you. So with that, I'll see you next time.